So one thing I want to talk about is why I call this channel My Secret Life of Pain. Well, first of all, it's a secret because I have clitoridynia, and that's a really hard thing to tell people, any people about. And I also have pudendal neuralgia, so I have pain from that area all the way to the back, so my anal and rectal area on the right side. And then that's been 2 years. And then for 20 years, I've had vestibulodynia. I didn't know I had it for a long time because I didn't know it wasn't normal to have a ring of burning around the entrance of your vagina. But most people don't even know what the vestibule is, and I don't blame them. But people don't talk about these issues and vulvar pain in general. And so when you are someone that has it, and I also had interstitial cystitis, have bladder pain and symptoms as well. And even with the bladder, people don't really talk about that the way they talk about shoulder, knee, digestive issues, autoimmune diseases, other chronic things, fibromyalgia. People do talk about those. At least I know people that talk about them. I have friends with Crohn's disease. I have friends with celiacs and fibro. I have friends with epilepsy. Other chronic conditions people are quite public about. Chronic back pain, chronic migraines. But I don't have any other friends that are public about saying, I have urogenital pain. I have pain in my genitals. So when you are the person that has that and you start trying to talk to people that you trust about it, you are most likely the first person they've ever heard of or known that has it, even though I think I read somewhere that 1 in 4 women has an episode at least, or female people has a time of their life of chronic vulvar pain. I don't know about the statistics for IC, but it's not that rare. It's not talked about. So when you are the person breaking the silence, you're the first person people know. And that has a big problem. When people don't know about something and you challenge also their assumption that doctors have answers, which confuses me too, because there's all these chronic issues that my friends even have that doctors don't have answers for. And yet when I bring up my issue and say that doctors don't have answers, people don't really believe me, and they go all over the place trying to tell me what's wrong with me. And that is basically the number 2 reason, and almost the bigger reason, why it's my secret life of pain, because I have tried to talk to people in my life about it, friends and family, and it hasn't gone over so well for me. One of the things that people have said to me that have made me want to never talk about my problems again. I have a friend who I met 10 years ago when I was dealing with really bad interstitial cystitis problems from the birth control pill. I know that now. Anyway, another story. But I got in touch with this person, and he had chronic digestive problems and mental health issues and other issues. So I thought he'd be understanding. And when I kind of tried to tell him, like, hey, I had this surgery in my pelvis near my, I can't remember what I said exactly. I said, I have pain down there. This is a guy my age I'm talking to. So I didn't probably use the word clitoris. But, the next thing he said was, have you heard of that thing where people are like aroused all the time? And I was like, yeah, PGAD. It's a terrible disease. I know about it because, and then he just was like, yeah, what if you had that? Isn't that crazy? And he was kind of like in this very, like tabloidy, what's the right word? Salacious. I think salacious is the word I wanted to use. Kind of talking about PGAD in this salacious way and it's like, I kind of almost have that. I don't think I really have, I haven't been diagnosed with it, but a lot of the pain that I experience can feel a little bit similar to that, and it's awful. And I'm in those support groups because I feel like anything that would help people with PGAD would probably help me, since it's the same nerves that we're having problems with. And I was so mortified, and I really felt for people with PGAD. I was like, oh yeah, this is what they face with doctors. This is what they face with everyone. People mocking them and thinking it's funny or cool or just kind of weird. And I was like, I pretty much have that. I didn't tell him that because it was hard enough for me to try to talk about my pain and disability and the impact on my life, and to then have someone go off about some other condition that they found sort of titillating. That's another word I wanted to use. It was so inappropriate, and it was so discouraging that I just kind of shut down and didn't want to keep talking to him about it. So for the record, if you don't know, PGAD is persistent genital arousal disorder, which is, I think, kind of a stupid name for a terrible condition. Arousal sounds like it's a choice, or like it's something that you enjoy. And it's not. It's like unwanted stimulation all the time and you can't control it. And it's most of those people also have pain, which is why I think I kind of have it. But even if they don't, like a lot of times it's physiological and no one will diagnose it. And it's a really awful condition that makes people, it ruins their lives, just like pudendal neuralgia. And oftentimes it is pudendal neuralgia. It just gets misdiagnosed and undiagnosed. And it's like a nightmare disease. And so the fact that anyone, doctors, friends, are kind of like giggling about it, and part of that's because of the name. They need a new name, and it's just not okay. Anyway, I tried to tell my brother a little bit about what I'm going through without using any of the words, right? Because he's my younger brother, and we never even talked about like dating and stuff with each other. So like, how can I tell him that something happened to my genital area? Like, I can't do it. But I did try to tell him about like my pain with sitting, a pelvic surgery that I had. I think I might have talked a lot about my bladder and pelvis kind of as euphemisms. And his response was just to shut me down. Like oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Silence. No questions. In 2 years, he never asked me the name of what I was suffering, what my diagnosis was. I had to like tell him. And then when I told him, no questions. I don't think he ever looked it up. I don't think he's looked up anything involving my condition. He's not researched anything. He's not asked me a single question about my diagnosis, my treatments, my prognosis, nothing, just zero interest in finding out about this thing that has completely derailed my life. And it's so hard for me to bring up and talk about. And so to have someone, for me to be like, I'm seeing another doctor, I'm going out of state, I'm having another surgery, I'm having a procedure, I'm trying a new drug. And that's my life, is going through these things. And then to have him be like, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm going on a camping trip in 2 weeks. I'm going on a vacation to Europe. I'm going on a road trip with my friends. Like, and all the fun life stuff he's doing. Like, that's how he responds to my medical trauma, with zero interest, zero curiosity, zero empathy. And then he talks about himself. So that's been pretty painful. When I tried to tell his wife, she's been a little more sympathetic to me talking about the specific things I'm doing. Like, she's kind of she's acted interested. I won't say she's been sympathetic. She's acted interested. But then she'll come out with some like the craziest one-liners I've had in the last 2 years of disability. One of my favorites was like a year into it, when I was talking about how stressful and exhausting all the time is, going to all these different doctors, trying all these different treatments. A lot of them, kind of disable you, flare you for a few days. And she just was like, well, sounds like it's really exhausting you and it's not helping. So why don't you just stop? I mean, talk about not hearing me and not understanding or not really caring about anything that I've been saying. Would you tell someone, if someone was throwing up every day and it was ruining their life and they lost their job and they couldn't have a partner, they couldn't do everything they wanted to do in life, imagine telling them, why don't you just stop trying to solve that problem and just accept that you're going to be throwing up every day, all day? Some people have to do that, but they're probably still going to be looking for treatments to help themselves and get better. Why would you ever tell someone to stop? And why would my issues be any different? I can't sit. I'm a piano player. I'm a teacher. I'm a musician. I'm in pain all the time. I wanted a family. Why would I stop? Why would I ever quit and just accept that I have to live in excruciating pain in my genitals every day, all day, and all the other crap that goes with it? I wanted to travel. Like, I had so many goals and dreams. How could she say that to me? I can't even imagine. Like, some people do decide to just accept the level of pain and disability they have after they've tried a lot and they have become exhausted. But that's a very personal choice that has to come from the individual. To have, clearly, if your friend is throwing everything with the kitchen sink at their condition, they really cannot stand living with it. And they don't want to be told, why don't you just give up? That it made me feel so unheard and misunderstood. Like, she didn't get the impact that this was having on my life at all. And that for me to give up trying to get better would be the day that I die. Like, that's how it is.